Good morning, and we're live on Habit Finder. We'll be live very shortly on the OgMent Facebook page. It's great to be with you this Monday morning, November 2nd. Wow, what happened to 2020? In one way, I think we're all grateful to come to an end, have this year come to an end and get a fresh start in 2021. Let's get everybody just a moment or two to join us this morning, because we're going to take on a really challenging topic this morning. I'm very excited about it. So I just got the thumbs up from our producer that we're on with OgMent. So great to be with you. The election tomorrow. Many of us have already voted. Many will vote tomorrow. I sense that this topic is going to drag on for a few days, if not weeks, based on ballots being counted and the Supreme Court's latest ruling of allowing a couple of states to let those ballots be counted after the 3rd of November. I come to you apolitical this morning because I want to talk about a critical topic that is so often violated in a political conversation. I want to walk through the dynamics of connection and get really clear on a couple of key pieces that are causing us to have greater polarity than is really necessary. You see, when someone needs to be right, the only option for the other person is to be wrong. And if someone feels really strongly about their ideas, they don't want to be wrong. So this person might get more forceful, louder, gather their friends together and make a bigger point. And this person gets to be wrong. And when we make a person wrong, we push all the self-esteem buttons in their thought processes. Now, we measure those 6 measurements, and I can tell you basically what they're measuring. We could be calling into question that person's very worth as a human being. Matter of fact, sometimes in the anger of the discussion, we might actually, the person needing to be right might call into question their worth and worthiness as a human being. We might be calling into question their ability, their intelligence, their education. We might be calling into question the value of their belief system. We might be calling into question the value of their contribution, and even pointing out past mistakes, not us, but them when we make them wrong. Those things that have weighed on someone's heart and mind, they just come pounding back. If we can understand this basic concept, that if we engage in a conversation that is right and wrong, win and lose, life and death, all and nothing, there are only 2 options, a winner and a loser. And right now, both sides of the political aisle and all the population who have polarized to one side or the other are in a right-wrong discussion, and it is tearing apart the fabric of our nation. There's going to be a president elected tomorrow. Could be Joe Biden, could be Donald Trump. But this country needs to continue as a country for the next 4 years of that presidency, as a people, not as a divided people, not as bitter enemies, but as human beings. And we can't keep playing right and wrong, win and lose, because win, lose, crush esteem. Win, lose, crush esteem. And you crush someone's esteem, and there's a very good chance they'll get defensive. Because when we call into question the very worth of a being, this is the most private dialogue a human being has with themselves. It's the most private. Paul and I often say, if we said half the things to you that you allow your habits of thinking to say to you, could we still be friends? Now, the person needing to be right didn't create that internal dialogue. The right, the wrong just ignites it, brings it right to the forefront, and it crushes that person, and it is creating such anger and bitterness that person just gets better informed, and then they try to crush the other person. by being right and making the other person wrong. Here's the truth. And it's not about political differences. It's about humanity. That truth, I believe, we can all agree on. And that is that each one of us, by virtue of life, Og Mandino called it, because of hate and suspicion, whatever's happened in our life, we built up a wall. And it protects us. And if we want to connect with a human being, we have to get past this wall. And needing to be right just makes this wall even more deeply entrenched, thicker, higher. It doesn't bring it down. How can we have this conversation? How can we bring down a wall and have our wall come down? To have cooperation and energy flood out, and conversation, and being able to discuss how we can govern our homes, our neighborhoods, our cities, our states, our nation, without such vitriol. How can we do this? Well, at the center of this whole process is a very simple yet complex concept. It's called agape love. Now we turn to the Greeks because they were pretty smart. The Greeks had a lot of words for love. We have one, and it gets shared by nuance. Love your bro, love your sweetheart. It's how we say it. The Greeks just used a different word. Eros for erotic love. Pia for paternal love, maternal love, motherly love. Philo for agape love, for brotherly love, like the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, right? So philo, so eros, pia, philo. Highest of all the Greek words for love was agape. And it wasn't emotionally driven. It was driven by one fact: seeing the pricelessness in a human being. Not getting distracted by a belief system or how they work or don't work or what they have as a profession or their race or religion or their creed, whatever it might be. It wasn't any of that. It's seeing past all of that and seeing the pricelessness in the human being. Would you agree with me that we've missed this one? Something's happened to this one. We have stopped seeing the humanity in a human being because of the differences in our political opinions. What a tragedy. So, we want to begin the process of practicing agape, seeing a person as priceless and unique. What do we do when someone who's priceless and unique is very opinionated about what they want to do? Because we viewed it in the past, either I acquiesce and I let them have their way, or I try to defend mine, and we end up in this battle. Yeah, because right, wrong, crush esteem. Right, wrong, crush esteem. Right, wrong, crush esteem. Here's a great secret. Paul and I teach this in corporate America because it's a major challenge. When you have people who effortlessly think, getting attached to their ideas and needing to be right. And when people are not the highest priority, getting the job done, getting the quota met, etc., is the highest priority, we crush the people in the process. By the way, that makes it harder to actually get to the objective of the revenue projections, right? If we unleash human beings, oh my goodness, behind that wall is 40% of their production and cooperation in a non-adversarial relationship. Yeah, two people who like each other. What happens when it becomes boss-employee and there's a little bit of a riff? What happens when it becomes Republican-Democrat? What happens? Do you think there might be a little bit of a higher wall on both sides of that aisle? I think so. So it's incumbent that more now than ever before, we practice the principle I'm about to share with you. It's a hard thing to do when we're really attached to an idea, because this part of our brain is processing in all or nothing. If we don't hang on to this idea, we become nothing. And here's the secret. We stop down for a moment and we take our idea. We don't dismiss it. We don't acquiesce. We simply set it in a safe place for a moment. It's not going to like it. It's going to be screaming, "Don't do it. They'll think you agree with them and you won't get your way." Just set it aside for a moment, because you're going to practice a higher mathematical state of awareness. This is called systemic thought. We're going to rise to the occasion, to extrinsic thought, and we're going to listen to the other person and find something good in their idea. And here's the challenge. When we're looking for the good, our mind is struggling with, are we agreeing with them or not? You do not have to agree to find good. Find good. Because 249 times out of 250 people, their idea is attached to their self-worth. If you can find something good in that idea, what I like best about your idea is, and that's the phrase, what I like best about your idea is, and we verbalize it, we found good in their idea. Didn't agree with it, we found good in it. Good is not a systemic concept, right, wrong, win, lose, life, death, all, nothing. You have to raise to a higher level of math to find good in something. And it's a higher level of awareness. So we find good, we verbalize it, and by finding good in that idea, we just found good in the person. We just validated them. Now, let's take it one level higher. Intrinsic math. Why do we do it? Because they are priceless. Because we are practicing agape love. Our differences aside, unique, priceless human being. So we have our systemic thought that needs to be right. Our extrinsic thought that can look for the good. Our intrinsic thought, the highest and most aware thought, this agape, seeing their pricelessness. I would never want to crush them. Kevin Hall, who wrote the book Aspire, I remember the day he shared with Dan McCormick and me the word Genshai, Genshai. I wrote about it today. I begin a new life. Kevin was introducing me to Dan, Dan was introducing me to Kevin. That's the first time I'd met Kevin. And Kevin's first question was, "What's your favorite word, Dave?" And I said, "Inspire." He said, "Oh, I love that word. That means to breathe life into someone." Dan shared his, and then Kevin said, "May I share mine with you?" He said, "I just learned it." He just got back from Eastern Europe, where he had spent time in a cloth shop. And there was a Book of the Greats, had been signed by so many great human beings who had visited that shop. And the shop owner and he went to lunch, and the shop owner shared the word Genshai, an Indian word, which means never make anyone feel small, including yourself. But never make anyone feel small. That's the application of agape. Can you imagine if we lived in that space? We could take our ideas, not surrender them, not acquiesce to somebody else's, but just set it right there. We're honoring it. But now we're rising above that to extrinsic thought and looking for the good in a person's idea and verbalizing it because we care about the human being more than the need to be right. Now, some of these issues in this election are pretty tender. There's no question. But the value of that human being is more priceless than the idea. If we can find that piece and validate the person intrinsically, we know what happens. The wall comes down. The cooperation energy flood out. We're no longer in a self-esteem preservation. Right, wrong, crush esteem. Right, wrong, crush esteem. We've moved past that battle. We now have cooperation energy flooding out. We bring down our wall, cooperation energy flooding out, and we can have a conversation. Now, they're pretty tender right now, so we'll continue to look for and find good in an idea, validate the person, they can reciprocate, and we can continue that conversation. But conversations in today's political world cannot occur if we are not aware of what I have shared with you this morning. Right, wrong, crush esteem. Done. This idea does not want us practicing extrinsic, intrinsic mathematics. It does not want us doing it. It's afraid. Because if we do, it's afraid we're going to be wrong and we're going to be nothing. It's trying to protect us. Isn't that silly? An idea. But it's controlling us. Let us set it there, honor it. Let us look for the good in that person's idea and verbalize it. We got to rise above this to find the good. I'm being redundant so I can drive this home. And then intrinsically validate the person by sharing and watching a wall down and a conversation occur. I know this is a true principle. I have some strong opinions about the politics. I do. But I've had some really wonderful, rich conversations with people with totally different views, because it's about the pricelessness of the human being. And on Wednesday after the election, or if it's a few days after, if we're not focused on the pricelessness of the human being, we know people can kill people over ideas. Not just crush their esteem, actually take them out. May we, all of us listening to this today, let us commit to being a great listener, finding that good, verbalizing it, bringing walls down, creating a safe place for a healthy conversation. Because we're going to have a lot of conversations, need to have a lot of conversations following the election to keep the fabric of this nation knitted together. It's too critical. I believe this is the topic of the day in preparation for tomorrow and the days and weeks to come. Let us practice this. Og said that love, agape love, is the greatest secret of success in all ventures. Muscle can split a shield and even destroy life, but only the unseen power of love, this agape love, can open the heart. Till I master this art, I'm no more than a peddler in the marketplace. I will use love as my greatest weapon, and none on whom I called can defend against his force. With this love, I can melt all hearts, like unto the sun whose rays soften the coldest clay. Let us go out in this world today. Let us be the one who rises to the occasion. Let us see if we can't ripple, because Og said it this way: I will take down their walls of hate and suspicion and build a bridge so that my love can enter their soul. And when we do that, it becomes contagious. Thanks, everyone. Let's go out and practice agape this week. See you soon.